Today on Samcraft, I have a new machine to show you guys. It is a Waterjet cutting machine, so very different from anything you've seen on this channel before. But I'm going to use the machine not as a how to assemble blah 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 technical boring video. No, I'm going to show you guys how to use that machine to make a one-of-a-kind upscale product you can make and sell in the form of this guy, an 8-inch laser engraved water cut stone trivet for home decor, cooking, kitchen, or other uses. Yeah, let's go. As we get going on this video, guys, I want to be honest and transparent, which is something I try to do all the time with you guys, and let you know that this machine was sent to me by Wazer to make videos for you guys. Now, that being said, that was pretty much the extent of our agreement and stipulations and approval process, I guess you could say, as far as what comes out of this guy's mouth on his channel about that machine. Wazer wants me to show you guys how you can use a machine such as this to incorporate into your existing business, whether it be laser engraving, which is honestly what I'll be showing you the most, or other kind of business aspects, and how you could use their machine to enhance, to create, or otherwise produce things that you could not make yourself, or your business could not offer prior to now. So what we're starting with today is something basic and easy, because honestly, this is the first project I've done with the machine. This is not going to be a how-to video. I'm not going to walk you through unboxing or assembly. This is going to be just using the machine and showing you the process of integrating it into something to give you a finished product in the end. So real quick, if you don't know what a Waterjet is, or a Wazer, maybe you've never heard of this machine, maybe you've not been targeted by their ads for a couple of years like I have been, I guess out of interest and hobbies, then let me give you a 55 mile per hour looking out the window overview of what a Waterjet is. Basically, it is a CNC style machine, and it uses a high pressure water pump in conjunction with an abrasive. In this case, it is a garnet sand like material, to basically blast into an object until it cuts through it, and then once it's pierced through it, it moves along that line trajectory with the head and cuts out a shape. So structurally, at the core components, it is very similar to laser engravers or wood CNC machines, that it has an XY axis and a gantry, and it moves the cutting head around. But the difference with this is that instead of using a machine like a router for carving out and milling out wood, or a laser beam for cutting and engraving surfaces, this machine uses a high pressure pump with that abrasive and water to pierce and cut through objects. So there you go. Sam's brief primer of what exactly a Waterjet is. So for today's project, I have what you see here in my hand, and this is a 12 by 12 inch, 8mm thick, solid piece of slate. This is a tile that I purchased from Home Depot and had delivered to my home because I can't find it locally. But this is not a porcelain tile. This is a true solid slate. The back has been honed smooth, but the top is more of a natural finish, and it is 100% solid slate stone. That's important because what we're going to be doing in today's project is cutting this guy up. Imagine that, using a Waterjet cutter to cut something, but we're going to cut out a shape and then transfer it over to the laser to make something that is very unique. So just like with CNC machines, laser engravers, and Waterjets, your project will start on a computer. So I need to remove the SD card out of the Wazer, take it over to my desk, and launch the software to load up my design, go ahead and set the parameters, export the G-code file, and bring it back over here to the machine. So, see you guys at my desk. Alright guys, I got you set up here at the desk, also have screen recording on, and I've already logged in and launched the Wazer Cam application. So let's go ahead and get to it. Real quick overview, as you're going to see here, this is a very basic user interface, so that's nice, right? Not a lot of learning curve here, and just basic functionality. So I'm going to start with step 1 and go all the way to step 6. First thing I want to do is make sure my units of measurement is in inches. I don't normally work in inches, but I've got it in my head that this design, I want it to be an 8-inch diameter, so I'm just going to do inches here. So we'll go ahead and click on Import File. I'm going to bring in my DXF file that I exported from Lightburn. I don't know if that'll be before or after this in the video. If not, don't worry, you'll see light burn in a little bit, and I'll show you where I exported the cutout. So basically we've got our cutout because we're going to cut the material and then we're going to engrave it on a laser. So with our DXF file imported, we're going to move on to step 2, which we're going to scale and position. Let's go ahead and make this width 8 inches. And here it's telling me, hey, your cutout's outside of the bed. That's okay. We'll make our X position 1/4 inch and our Y position 1/4 inch as well, just to bring it in a little bit. All right, it is scaled like we like, so we're going to go to step 3, which is where we tell the application what material we're going to be cutting. I'm going to go to the ceramics and stone, and there's not a slate option, so I'm going to be choosing marble because that's the one I feel like is closest, and I'm going to tell it that it's a 1/2 inch thick piece of marble. We have our material done, so now let's go down to cutting path. I have a couple options here. We can do the cutting path on the outside, and if I zoom in, you'll be able to see that yellow line. That is your cut line. The white line is the actual design file line. So here it is on the outside. We could tell it to cut right dead center, or we could tell it to cut on the inside. I'm going to choose outside. So we'll go ahead and do that. Click on this to take our zoom extent all the way back out, and that's it for cutting path, outside. Go down to number 5, which is tabs and leads. So since I'm cutting slate and it's very thick and quite heavy, and this is a large cutout, I'm going to tell it no tabs. There is a risk of doing this. You do run the risk of pop-ups or movement, and that can cause some issues. But I feel like I'm okay with this large 8-inch slab of slate being cut out on the machine. But again, if you're following this or doing this, do what you want to. So I'm going to click on no tabs, and I'm going to tell it leads enabled. That way it kind of leads in whenever it starts to cut instead of just blasting right in the edge. And what that gives me is a little bit cleaner initial, probe cut on my profile. I'll show you guys when the file's done. Alright, tabs and leads are done. Now we'll click on cut. Here I have a quality setting, which I think this is going to adjust my speeds. I can go coarse, medium, or fine. Let's go ahead and, thinking that marble is going to be more dense than slate, I'm going to choose coarse here, thinking it's really going to give me about a medium edge quality. We'll see. So coarse, file name here, we're going to rename it. We'll call it Trivet Sunflower 8-inch, logical there. And we're going to go ahead and generate job file. We'll click on this. It downloads the G-code file to my computer. And then if I wanted to save this as a Wazer project file, I can click on the save.wzr file button right here, and it will download a Wazer file for me as well. So that's cool. I now have this saved. I can open it back up later and tweak things if I need to. At this point, I'm going to take that G-code file that we saved, put it on the SD card, and I'll see you guys back over there at the machine. Opening up the lid, you guys are presented with the Wazer, and a little quick tour. This is the cutting surface. This plastic mat is the cutting bed. It is a sacrificial bed, a block of plastic, and you do get several of these. So it's a replaceable, consumable item, but you get several to start with, and of course they're available by Wazer to replace. This is a metal fence that was also a part of the initial setup. I'm not going to cover that, but this piece of aluminum is also replaceable and gives us a nice fence to reference our material on. So I've got my 12 by 12 inch slate. I'm going to plop it down in place, push it up against the fence, and now we need to get our screws out and attach it just a couple of places here to make sure it does not move. Here I have some of the stainless steel screws. These are included with the machine. These look like they're about 1.5 inches long. I'm just going to attach them right here beside the material, driving it into a couple of the holes on the plastic sacrificial bed, and that's what we're going to do to hold this into place. It may be a little bit difficult for you to see the screen, but I'll try my best. I'm going to click on Select Cut File, so OK. I go down, find the file name on the SD card, click on OK. And here it's going to walk you through the steps. So it asks you, prepare the machine to cut this file, yes or no. We're going to click on OK to say yes. Now it's telling me to lift the nozzle clear of the cut bed and any obstructions, and then press OK to home the machine. So I'm going to press OK, but I want you guys to see the cool part. Alright, pressing OK. And now the machine is going through its homing procedure. It's going to go all the way back here to the back left corner. Alright, with the machine homed, we're going to follow the prompts on the screen. It's going to take us through a couple of yes-no questions. First one is to confirm the file we've loaded. Yep, looks good. The second one, it tells us to make sure we have filled up the hoppers with abrasive, which we have, and that the abrasive collection buckets in the front of the machine are empty, which they are. So we'll click on OK past that. Now it's asking me to confirm if my water supply is on. Yes, it is. So we'll click past that. Here it's reminding us to fasten the material to the bed. So we did, so we go on. And now what it wants us to do is to jog the machine over and set the nozzle height. So I'll show you guys how to do that. Using the arrow keys on the machine, I'm going to move this tool head over and over top of the slate. Now I'm taking the plastic cap off the top of the cutting head because this is what we use, this little tab portion right here, for setting our height. So to set the height, we're going to be using the little plastic cap that lives on top of the cutting head, bringing it down, sitting it right on top of our material, loosening this knob to let it come down, and it's going to rest right on top of that plastic. Once we have it there, tighten up the screw, remove the spacer, and that is the correct cutting height for the nozzle. With the nozzle height set, the last thing I like to do is double check my origin, and then I'm going to tell it to do the cut extents. So that's basically where it's going to move for the maximum extents. This is very similar to framing the job in laser lingo, I guess. So for here, I'm going to choose that option, make sure it looks good on my placement, and after that, we're going to press start to run the job. Alright guys, our cut extents look great, so everything's fastened. We are done. We've done our pre-flight checks. We're ready to run the job. This job is going to take a while to run, and this machine is not quiet. So, cover your ears. Actually, don't worry. I'll fix the audio in the editing software. But otherwise, I'm going to get you guys set up so you can watch this. It does not go super fast, right? We're using water to cut stone, but I'll set the camera up on the tripod and give you some real-time footage, but then we'll speed it up till we get to the end too. Okay, I'm going to try this on my cell phone. I know the audio is not going to be as good, but I'm walking away from the Waterjet over there, heading towards the other end of my workshop, just to try and give an example of how loud it is, or maybe is not. I would put it on the same level, I mean, kind of as an air compressor that's running, but the nozzle itself, as the water moves in and around it, it does also make some gurgling sounds. Honestly, it sounds like I'm at the dentist, which might be a good or a bad thing to think about, but that's kind of what it reminds me of, like a little suction tube sound and some water there and there. I don't know, but this is just an idea to let you guys hear how it sounds as, I'll try and walk backwards, as we get closer to it. I mean, it's not quiet, right, but it's not horribly loud. I don't think it's something that you would need ear protection for. There are two different options on cutting. One is a submerged cutting, which is what I have chosen, where it puts the nozzle down and the water level up higher, and it is a lot quieter that way. I think it maybe goes slower that way, but I don't care. I want it quieter. Otherwise, there's a look of it as it's running through that job file. It's still maybe halfway through, so, I mean, sit back and watch it, right? Don't leave it unattended. Do not. But at least it's not something you have to physically just hover and do. Right? I don't know. It's similar to a CNC, honestly. Alright. This bad boy is done with the job. So now the machine's done. You can just move this over out of the way. And we're left with our cutout. One of the really cool things about the Wazer Pro is it has a wash nozzle or a sprayer nozzle built in, which is great because I can clean all of this in place. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's wash off this garnet abrasive from the slate. Alright, now let's take the screws off of the edge and I'm going to slide it over, then we'll take our piece out that we cut. So I think the total cut time was around 12 minutes or so, which is not too bad, I guess. I mean, right, it's a Waterjet. It uses water pressure and abrasive to cut through stone. So let's slide this guy over, remove our waste. Ooh, we got a nice, perfect cut. No problem with that speed setting, which is great. And here we have our fresh cut outline, our object. So we'll go ahead and spray off the rest of the back here. Taking advantage of the Wazer as a utility sink in a way, but this is very handy. We'll do that. Now let's dry this guy off so we can get some close-up shots of that profile, see how clean it is right out of the machine, and then move on to finishing out this project. Alright guys, our slate piece has dried off and we have a chance to look at the profile of this straight out of the Waterjet. I've not sanded anything, I've not deburred anything, and honestly, this looks fantastic. I would have no problem selling this as is to a customer. The profile, you can see a little bit of like, I guess the Waterjet movements or what you would maybe think are saw blade movements, but it is nothing jagged. It's nothing that detracts from the product in my opinion, and is smooth, right? I can rub my hands all over this, not going to get cut. This is not a sharp, dangerous object. This is a finished sellable product right out of the Waterjet. That's amazing. But not totally finished, right? Who wants a blank, weird looking, jaggedy thing? Let's put our sunflower picture on this with the xTool F1 laser. Then we'll see how it looks, which will be much better after that. Alright, we're over here at the laser. Let me get my business cards out of here. This is the #1 thing I make with this, are metal engraved business cards for my products. So get these guys out. Get this jig out of the way. And now, let's put our slate in here and set the machine to frame, and then we're going to align it and position it where we need to. Alright guys, we are totally ready to run this file. I'm going to use my remote. I'm going to turn on my exhaust extraction. I'm going to try and let this lid be up just so you can still see the job, but still have plenty of airflow, and I'll stay out of the way. I won't be watching this. Otherwise, let's get this guy to engrave and see how it turns out. Oh snap! Let's check it out. That is cool. That is really cool. I got an 8-inch diameter, roughly 8-inch, sunflower cut from slate trivet. I don't know, guys. It's what my wife said to make, so that's what I'm doing. This looks really cool. So the Waterjet cut it out, which is amazing. It takes it to its own level. But then laser engraving it, so combining the two machines into one, this gives a true unique product. I have not seen anything like this yet on some online marketplaces. So hey, I'm not really in the trivet business, but this combination, you can definitely get there. Especially when I add some 3 little rubber feet on the bottom to keep your countertop nice and not scratched, I guess you could say. This guy's ready for use. So, all in all, not a bad project. I think, honestly, the laser took longer to engrave this than the Waterjet took to cut it. So, there's some food for thought on that front as far as how long it actually takes. So, combined, setting aside not having to design everything, right? So, if we're thinking about just repeat the process over and over, maybe 25 minutes of machine time. But human intervention time, how fast can you load it, attach the base, punch the buttons, and then move it over, line it up, and punch some other buttons? Not much. Especially with the Waterjet cutting slate and zero cleanup, you're not looking at a lot of personal human labor in this setup. So that's cool. Well, that's going to be it for the very first Wazer Pro Waterjet laser combo video here on Samcraft. But if you've got an idea, something you say, hey Sam, why don't you try XYZ? Let me know. The goal is for me to show you guys products that you could make, more of a business application use of this machine. It's not to do machining work or to design one-off things for manufacturing. That's not what I'm to do with this machine with the company. They didn't ask me to do that, which I'm glad, because I don't really do that. My purpose and my goal and my relationship with Wazer is to show this machine doing unique things and how you could incorporate it to honestly give yourself unique products. So, you got any ideas like that? I'm all ears down below. I've got more content I need to shoot. I've got some in my head, but honestly, if you guys come up with better ideas, I'll toss mine out the window and we'll do yours. Otherwise, thanks for watching as always. There's links to the Wazer Pro down below if you want to check it out. And take care. I'll see you guys next time in the workshop.